Hello? Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. You can hear. Oh, sorry. Yeah, some glitch must have happened. So I should have just been paying attention to this little green bar. So sorry if you missed it. We're going to be making a peppered steak stir fry today, and I'm going to be using this product, this Gardein Beefless tips to start off. And I've got the heat on high, and I'm just going to get it a little bit brown. So I'm going to try to get a little bit of a burn on them, and so we can get started. We've got the heat going on high right now. So let this just, it's frozen, so it's going to take a little bit of time to thaw as well. Thank you for letting me know, Sharon. So yeah, so I've got this, so I forgot to grab a couple things. My simple sauce. I need those ingredients, right? So let's just get this moving, and I want, like I said, I want to get a little bit of a burn, not like burnt like black, but like a little bit of a burn on this, because it gives it that more of that dry beef type texture. There you go. These are pre-seasoned, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, so don't worry too much. What we're going to add to this is just going to amplify the taste, right? And you'll notice that I'm not going to add any salt or anything to this dish. So as this is going, so it's got a bit of a burn on it. I'm sure if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see that some of the beef is a little bit darker spots, right? So I'm going to make my simple sauce. So now this varies on how spicy you want your dish. Right, so this is the chili paste that I use. It's a garlic chili paste. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of that, right? And then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and then 2 tablespoons of the soya. Right? And then now I can mix all that together. Just drop the heat a little bit down to medium. I'm going to get my veggies in there. So I've got green pepper. So I've got about a quarter of green pepper, and I'm going to slice them up. Right, and I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller because I don't want them to be too stringy. And pop that in there. Just move that around. Right? And the reason why I didn't put the onion in first or prior to the steak is because I want the onions to kind of retain a little bit of itself. It can become a little translucent, but I don't want it to be like melt into this dish because it's one of the key elements. So you'll find in Asian cooking sometimes it's added towards the very end. Hello. So let this going. And if you're using a non-stick pan like I am, don't worry so much about it getting too dry, because once you add some of the other elements, so like we're going to be adding our cornstarch slurry. So this is a little bit of garlic. I'm going to say about half a teaspoon of garlic. powder, right? I'm going to put a couple grinds of black pepper. Oh, I just refilled this, so it's a little bit tight. So I want to get this a little bit on the dry side. So the soya beef kind of dries out a bit, so it gets more to that beefy texture. And then I'm going to rehydrate it with some of the cornstarch slurry. So, and what it's gonna do is the cornstarch slurry will pick up some of this dried stuff on the bottom of the pan. So don't worry so much. So just like mix this up really well, right? You want the onions to stay a little bit on the white side, right? And then, so now we can go ahead to get the slurry. So I've got my cornstarch here, right? So I've got, do half a teaspoon of cornstarch, and then I'm going to do about a cup of water. Oh, actually, you know what? This is hot water. So do not put hot water. Sorry, do not put hot water in your slurry, because what it's going to do is it's just going to clump up and it's not going to mix well. If you put room temperature water, then your cornstarch mix will mix well, because the whole thing is, it's like the science of cornstarch, right? The heat will make it kind of firm up, and that's why this sauce looks like this. It looks like there's oil, the sauce is like more on the greasy side, but there's literally no oil in this, right? You haven't seen me put oil in this pan, right? There's a little bit of fat content from the steak, or sorry, the beefless tips, but there's no actual oil, right? It was frozen and it was dried. So I'm just going to add a little bit more pepper to this. Now you can make this a little bit more colorful by adding red pepper, yellow pepper, whatever you want to do, right? You can mix this out, and if you don't like pepper, if you don't like bell peppers, you can easily just add broccoli. Now, if you are trying to stay like more on the whole food side, and you don't want to use substitutes like the Gardein, which is pretty good, what you can do, a good substitute for the Gardein, is if you take portobello mushrooms, like those big caps, and cut them into little squares and cook them. They're pretty good like that. So this dish is pretty much done now. So we're at like 10 minutes, 11 minutes in, with the welcome and everything, right? So I am just going to give it a quick mix, and I'll plate it. So there we go. Let's get this plated. So I was thinking about today's meal. Yesterday I made this meal for my daughter, and she really enjoyed it. And I was thinking about these meals and trying to figure out, what I want to do with this live cooking, and who I might attract, right? Because a lot of people that I follow or follow me are already vegan, but there are new people that I'm meeting via outreach and stuff like that, are trying to transition and they don't know what to eat. So I was thinking about possibly just starting to gear some of these live cookings towards showing them how simple it can be. So what I'll do is I'll most likely start making meals that are transition heavy. So like someone that's transitioning from a meat-based diet or a vegetarian diet into a plant-based diet, and then also providing substitutes, so that if you do like this dish and you just want more of a whole food dish, what's a good substitute. So what I'll do is I'll kind of flip-flop. I'll show a product that you could use, and then I might even do it a whole food way, because Generally, I like to eat around 80-90% of a whole food diet. When I eat a whole food diet, I feel so much better from a performance perspective, right? My runs are better, everything's better, I sleep better. Um, it feels like I digest better too. So, just offering that option might be helpful. So let me know what you think about that. If you have any suggestions, right? I'm just trying to figure out how I can more orient my content. So now comes the part of trying this out. I actually didn't really get to taste this yesterday. I've made it before. I don't think I've ever made something with Gardein that I didn't like. Yeah, that's perfect, Sarah. It's such a simple. So the sauce, my simple sauce, is just this chili sauce, which is basically ground up chilies and garlic, maple syrup to give it, that's what activates the flavor, as well as the soy. So the soy brings in the savory element, the maple syrup brings in the sweet element, so you get like this nice mix, right? That you find a lot in Asian stuff, in Asian dishes. You get the sweet and the savory, and then I find that you can like change it into any path you want. So like for instance, you can add a flavor like peanut, right? And it makes it into like a peanut sauce type dish, right? I just added pepper to this, so it just made it more of like, a very basic peppered dish, right? You could add Thai basil, you can add cilantro, right? There's so many different ways you can kind of approach this. You can add like maybe a little bit of rosemary. I haven't really tried with mint, but as soon as you kind of get that base flavor palette down, you can kind of make it go in any direction, right? And you've got multiple dishes at that point. Yeah, so the bowls, I think when you start getting into like the TV dinners, which I was never a big fan of, it starts to get more towards, people that probably compromise, nutrition and taste because they just need a meal, right? And to me, that's just sad. I know some situations that people are in, but I still think you can meal prep something, right? Like if I had to be on the go, like when I was on the go, I used to travel to the US and have to work like a week in New York, and then I would come home for the rest of the month. When I was doing that, I would try to find ways to kind of still have my diet whole food. Obviously, we would have to order food here and there, but like the one way I would do it to make sure I got like a good amount of whole food nutrition is I would make overnight oats, right? And I would do it at the office. Before I leave for the day, get my jar, clean out my jar from the day before and put together my overnight oats. I'd have everything in my cabinets, my oats and the plant milk. If I didn't have that, I would possibly just use water. I'll have like medjool dates and hemp hearts and stuff like that, and just make that, right? So I think if you're not constantly working, yeah. I've never tried. Does Gardein have vegan shrimp? I've tried their fish fillets. I like them. that was the first time I like double checked if Gardein was plant-based. I had it and I was like, looked at the back and make sure the ingredients didn't include fish. Oh, see, pepper and heat, they activate, right? So the worst thing you could do now is have like, well, it's pretty bad for you anyway, but have like a soda with this, right? Like Coca-Cola or something. I've tried the vegan shrimp. The vegan shrimp that we have here is by like a local company here. And it's pretty good. I would reorder it, and it's based on some type of mushroom. Yeah. We used to make like little filet-o-fish sandwiches way back. We would take hot dog buns and cut them in half and put a filet-o-fish sandwich in each half. Or sorry, one of the fillets in each half. Put a little bit of mayo and some lettuce, and that, to me, that tasted just like filet-o-fish. Hello. Just caught me at the end of my meal, or sorry, at the end of my cooking, so I'm now eating. Hey Tina. I know. We complain about this all the time. My wife and I, we watch a show, and if they're eating something, and I'll look over and be like, do you want that now? Some mukbang. How did everyone do this week? Did you strive towards some goal? Did you learn something new? I don't know about everyone, but I'm so, like, for me, I'm so competitive with myself. I try to do something where I feel like, okay, I'm content this week. I was able to accomplish something. Right? He takes some of his food. Wow, great job. Sharon, that's a great target. When you plateau, don't push yourself too hard. When you feel like progressing to the next step, it's, just make sure, just don't hesitate. Hey, Andrea. Yeah, you missed it by 10 minutes or so. Sharon, that's amazing. should be proud of yourself. Thank you. I'm almost done. Well, I hope you're doing well, Andrea. Your brother too. Thank you, Sharon. Just got this little bit to finish. Sorry about all the scraping. My mom always taught me to finish my meals. Appreciate the food that's in front of me, right? Yeah, oh, Sarah, I would just, I would say, don't worry about the vegan word for describing your meals. Meals are plant-based. So yeah, I think there's a couple ways you can approach it. You can try to do substitutes, or you can just try to kind of go towards healthy plant-based alternative. I think depending on the mindset, right? If someone's looking at switching over for kind of like moral or ethical reasons, they'll probably be more inclined to look at transitional foods, right? Just like Beyond Meat and Impossible and Gardein and stuff like that. But if people are just looking to improve their diet, they might be more inclined to have whole food type meals, right? And I think that you don't even have to put the plant-based label on it, because it's just whole food, right? And I think a lot of people are recognizing a whole food diet without the word plant-based is a healthier diet. So, and, you know, I think you probably have to judge based on that. So, yeah, I think it's about reading people, right? I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were asking for help for transition, but they were trying to transition their entire family, so I couldn't figure out the approach. And right away I was like, okay, well, why don't you try Beyond Meat or the alternatives, right? Like Impossible or something. And they were like, okay, I'll give it a try. And they tried it, and they were like, not everybody's not happy with it. Right, you're not going to please people like that. I think if he just tried to make, like, for instance, if I gave him a curry dish to make, and it was like new, it wasn't just substituting a meal that they already have, they already enjoy. I gave them a dish that they'd never really had, and they enjoyed it. Now they're going to be like, oh, I want to have that, once a week or something. And now I've given them a plant-based dish, right? So I think it really comes down to mindset. Anyways, hopefully everyone enjoyed the cooking, And yeah, so I'm going to be doing this twice a week, just juicing on Tuesdays and then cooking on Fridays. Let me know if you have any suggestions of what to cook next. I know someone was asking for the eggplant okra to be done on live. I might focus a little bit more on curries for a little bit of time, because it seems like that's what a lot of people have been suggesting as well. So, and those are going to be easy to do, whole food and plant-based. So, yeah, let me know in the comments, or if you want to DM me, and then I'll see everybody next time. Okay, bye everyone, and have a great weekend.